Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of MMA Fight Picks with Ant and Jay. I'm your man, Ant. This is my man, Jay. And we're here to break down UFC 278. We're coming off a pretty interesting card last week. San Diego had some good fights, had some bad fights, saw some brutal knockouts, saw some interesting decisions. So it's kind of the status quo now, I feel like, for the UFC. Get some good finishes, but you also get some sketchy decisions. Don't really know how to, navigate through that at times, but we do our best, and we're going to try to do that again today, breaking down these fights. We have some exciting ones, some that I'm not looking forward to, but sometimes, you get those cards where you get the cards or you get the fights that, you're not super interested in, but they turn out to be bangers, like 2 weeks ago, all finishes. So
for sure. Yeah.
You never know. You never know what you're going to get in this sport, and that's why we love it, right? So we're going to go ahead and we'll jump right in. We'll jump right into this first fight of the night. First fight of the night is going to be Victor Altamirano against Daniel Da Silva. I actually think this is a pretty fun fight. It should kick off the night good, get the fans nice and hyped up to start out. Tail of the tape here is Altamirano is 31, Da Silva's 26. Da Silva is going to be the shorter man. And they both have 70-inch reach. So tail of the tape is pretty close, unless you're considering 31 to be old. I don't really in fight years. That's kind of, you're still in your prime. So I think tail of the tape is pretty even here. This fight's super interesting because we have a decisionator in Victor Altamirano, and then we have a kill or be killed fighter in Daniel Da Silva. And so, you have two clashing styles, and what style is going to, rise to the top? Is it going to be a finish? Is it going to be a decision? I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, and I think that's why the UFC has it on the first fight of the card, because it's going to be exciting. We're going to see, and we don't really know what to expect, So we're really going to see what these guys are all about. My initial thoughts on this fight after watching the tape is I would love to back Daniel Da Silva, but not entirely sure if I can get there. I believe that Altamirano isn't very good, truthfully. He had the controversial victory against Candelario. I think most people thought he lost that fight. And then he has his last fight. He does have a loss against Carlos Hernandez, was a split. So you know how split decisions go. Everybody has their own feeling about how that went. I think he did lose that fight, so is what it is. We have Daniel Da Silva, who was the favorite against Francisco Figueiredo, took the L there, so that was not a good look. And then against Jeff Molina, he had Molina in some tough spots for a little bit, but Molina is a pretty solid fighter, and he was able to fight out of that. And, he was able to come away with the win, come away with the knockout. I believe if Silva is going to get Altamirano out of there and get the dub, it's going to have to be under 1.5. I believe Silva has one fight in the third round, if I'm remember correctly, and I think that might even be wrong. I think he only has one fight into the second round, and that was against Jeff Molina, where he was finished in like the first minute. So unless he made remarkable changes to his cardio, which I don't like to bank on fighters doing, I think he likely will lose this fight. But is Altamirano a finisher? No, he's not. And so that's where I kind of am having trouble with this one. What do you think about this fight?
I don't really want any part of it, but I'm going to probably lean dog or pass. I don't like the odds for Victor Altamirano. I think he's, like you said, a decision fighter. I think that he ends up and fights really close fights. So, you know what I mean? You're going to be sweating that one out when it comes to the scorecards. But Daniel Da Silva doesn't really have any good wins. He's got some bad losses. Dog or pass, but I'm staying away from it. Right now, the fight fight goes over 2.5 is plus 140. So that might be an angle if you think that this is going to go to decision. Because Altamirano is not really get finished too often, and he's not a good finisher. So
Yeah, for sure. I think if I was going to target this fight and how I potentially will look at it, is that Daniel De Silva by sub. If you want to take a look and see what that is.
Well, it's not up right now.
Okay, if it's not up. But the reason why I say that is a lot of De Silva's wins are by submission. I want to say all of his wins are by, or he has a couple KO, but majority of his decisions are by submission. And so when I look at that and I look at Altamirano, majority of his losses are by getting submitted. And so I think De Silva, he does have a solid BJJ background. I'm pretty sure he's a black belt, if I'm not mistaken, when I was doing my research on him. And so when I look at that, I think that's the angle I would target. Maybe De Silva inside the distance is not a bad play, but I really don't see De Silva winning a decision. So if he is going to win, it probably will be inside the distance. If Altamirano wins, maybe he comes out here and gets a finish, but he has a couple finish wins. They are by submission, which I don't know. It's tough.
It's tough to call, yeah.
Yeah, because you go back and forth. Like these guys both have gotten finished. Altamirano against lower level competition has finishes, but no finishes when he's fighting tougher fighters. De Silva did have Molina. He had Molina's back. So I don't know. Maybe if he gets Altamirano's back, he can finish this fight. But again, that's iffy. It really, the reason why I would take that stab at submission or inside the distance is more so just because it's probably good plus money, considering that De Silva doesn't have too much to offer otherwise. But that's really how I'm going. It's a fun fight to watch, but from a betting perspective, it's super tough to kind of determine what it is. I'll probably wait and see how the line figures out fight day of, and maybe place a bet during the day. So catch me on Twitter. I'll post if I'm playing something or if not. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about this one. It's a fun fight to watch, but I'm not sure I'll be betting on it.
Same.
All right. Perfect. Let me move on to the next fight. We have Aorileng. I probably butchered that, against Jay Perrin, or Perrin, however you would like to pronounce it. Both of these fighters are 29 years old. They're, last weighed in 136, so right at that limit for the bantamweight division. They're both 5'7", and they both have a 69-inch reach. These two are pretty much like identical when it comes to physicality and their body types. So I think that's kind of interesting. There's really no advantage anywhere when it comes to the tail of the tape. This fight right here, I am backing Aorileng. I think that he has fought the better competition. I think he's more well-rounded. I think he has a little more skill overall as well. That's not to say Perrin is not a decent fighter, but I think we've seen Aorileng tested against much, much better competition. And so this one is kind of a straightforward pick for me. I am going to take Aorileng. I don't know if I'll bet like inside the distance or a decision or just his money line, but his money line sitting at minus 157, which I think that's perfectly fine. I like that number for him. I see on Tapology right here, they say slight favorite, minus 190. I think he opened up as a much bigger favorite, but that line has dropped pretty significantly. So the market clearly likes Perrin right now, but I like the other side. So what do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm also going to be on the dog again here. I think Jay Perrin is going to have the grappling advantage, and I don't think Aorileng is too well versed in the grappling department. So for that simple reason, I'm going to lean Jay Perrin. I don't know if I'm going to put a bet on it. Kind of like on the fence right now. about it because this guy could also just get murked by Aorileng or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean Jay Perrin, but I still don't know if I'm going to make a bet. I think he's going to have, like I said, the path to victory is there for him. It's either laying and praying on him or choking him out. But I think it should be a pretty crazy fight. So it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And to just take it even further, just to like really show how close these guys are. Like you look at their grappling numbers, Perrin averages 3 takedowns a fight. Aorileng averages almost 2.5. Their takedown accuracy is both 62 to 60%.
So close.
Takedown defense is both 54%. So it's like the grappling, I feel like it's going to be close. It's basically who can implement their will better, who's more determined, whose cardio is better. And then significant strikes wise, Aorileng is much more active. And so that's kind of where I think he's going to end up winning this fight. He averages 6.6 strikes per minute, where Perrin's averaging 2.8. Striking accuracy 46% to 41. It does say that Aorileng absorbed 7.7 strikes per minute, but if you remember, in that Jeff Molina fight, Molina landed like 100 plus strikes in that third round.
Yeah.
So it's a little skewed in my opinion. I don't think that he gets hit as frequently as 7.7. And even despite getting hit that much, his defense is still better at that 49%. So I'm leaning the Aorileng side here, especially if that line is going to stay, in that 150 range, 160 range.
I kind of missed the boat on the Jay Perrin at like minus or plus like 160 I could have gotten, and now he's plus 125.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's another reason why I'm probably not going to be betting it.
Yeah, because Jay Perrin's open, he was like 165 like a week ago on DraftKings. Bet online, he was 250 on August 4th, which is kind of absurd. That's a really high line to open him up at, is plus 250. But that got bet down like quite immediately. Like it opened up at like 5:30 and like within like 3 hours, it was already down to plus 170. So
people saw on Jay Perrin, man.
Yeah, people saw that plus. I mean, if I would have saw plus 250, I would have bet that too, because that's a little too lopsided in this matchup. But
I agree.
I'm on the favorite here. You're on the dog. Won't waste any more time. Let's move on. We have Amir Albazi against Francisco Figueiredo, Little Figgy, as some people like to call him. All right, let's break down this tail of the tape. Amir Albazi's 28, Figueiredo is 32. Albazi 5'5", Figueiredo 5'6". Figueiredo will have a 1-inch reach advantage, which 69 to 68 inches shouldn't matter too much here. This fight is very straightforward to me. Amir Albazi should be better everywhere. He should be better on the feet, on the ground, up against the cage. The only hesitancy I guess I have is the layoff. He hasn't fought in a year and a half, so there is that. But Figueiredo is not very good. I mean, he fought De Silva last, got that knee bar, which was kind of impressive. I'm not going to lie. I was shocked when that happened. I was like, wow, okay, I was not expecting that. But he took a loss to Malcolm Gordon. And if you lose to Malcolm Gordon, like,
down bad.
Yeah, it's not a good look. He beat Jerome Rivera, but Jerome Rivera was quite literally the worst featherweight to enter the UFC probably ever. So I'm not impressed by that. Then, he has a draw against Eduardo Souza. I watched that fight? No, I watched this fight. And that was kind of impressive when he had that knockout, but that was 4 years ago, and Amir Albazi is not that guy. So I'm rocking Albazi here. I think he's a solid parlay piece at that minus 500, but I don't really parlay, so that's more so for the people who do like to parlay. But that's not a bad play there at all. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, all Bozzies aside, every which way to Sunday. I don't like Figueiredo that much. I think he's a little. I don't know what I think about him, but he doesn't give off the best body language when he's in there. It's one thing I noticed from watching his fights over again. Miro Bozzi, like you said, should have the advantage literally everywhere. He put away freaking Malcolm Gordon, and Francisco Figueiredo lost a decision to Gordon. And Gordon's got one of the worst chins in like the UFC. So yeah, all Bozzi all day. I almost think. I think it'd be apparently. I mean, I was surprised when looking at this, but Figueiredo hasn't been finished before. So, I guess by decision is probably the best look, I guess. But I could also see him winning inside the distance.
Yeah, I will say just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean it can't happen.
True, and we've seen that against Luque, our buddy Luque. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you also look at who he's fought, like Jerome Rivera. Like, is that guy gonna finish you? No.
Yeah, he's
like,
fought some frauds.
Malcolm Gordon, like he's a submission guy, but he really just took him down, and he was able to not get submitted. So I guess that was impressive. But he's the BJJ black belt, so
yeah.
And then De Silva, we just talked about no cardio. And
fight goes the distance at -135.
Yeah, and that's not bad. Especially Albazi taking that time off. He might have a little ring rust. He might be slow in that first round.
Yeah, and Albazi's even plus money for by decision +110.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, that's not a bad look. Especially if you can maybe do like a double chance, maybe like KO in decision, or if you like the submission, potentially submission in decision. It's not bad at all, but that -500 is, I mean, sure, I would say it's not value per se, but I think he wins this fight like 80-90% of the time. So I can't really argue against that -500 price tag that he has at the moment.
Yeah.
Anything else you have to say about this one?
Nope. I don't think I'm gonna even try and parlay him, just because -500 doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I definitely hear you on that. It really doesn't. It's minor. I mean, it might drop down a couple points, some cents for you, but it's nothing drastic.
Facts.
All right, let's move on to this next fight. What are we on? What fight is this? Fight number 4. I am actually looking forward to this one. We got AJ Fletcher, against Loosa. All right, tail of the tape. Loosa's 3 years older at 28. Fletcher's 25. They're both 5'10". But Loosa will have a 7-inch reach advantage. And something just to point out here is he does train out of Sanford. Loosa, that is Killcliff FC, Sanford MMA. So he's fighting and training with good people every day in and day out.
Dustin Poirier.
I've personally never heard of Gladiators Academy, but that's not to say it's a bad camp. I just have not heard of it. So I am rocking the dog in this fight. I'm feeling Ange Loosa here. I think the reach advantage is going to be a problem. His takedown defense also is pretty good. And so Fletcher, to win this fight, I think he has to get it to the ground. We saw him getting pieced up by Semmelsberger, and Semmelsberger is not, a world beater. He's not an elite striker. And that's not to say Loosa is, but I think that he's on the level of Semmelsberger in terms of striking. And we also seen him fight Jack Della Maddalena. Sorry. Yeah. And I mean, he went toe to toe with him in that Contender Series fight. He almost submitted him, matter of fact. And so I thought that was interesting. When you're talking about Fletcher taking him down, it seemed like Loosa was comfortable on the ground when he fought Maddalena. So I don't know if that potentially could be a way for him to win this fight, maybe by sub. I doubt it, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. He had a deep arm triangle choke going there, so it was close. But I'm going Loosa here. What do you think?
So leaning the Fletcher side, but it's not strong conviction at all. I think the wrestling advantage should be there for him. That's like the path to victory. I think this is going to be a close fight, though. Both have great chins. Both have never been finished before. I believe AJ Fletcher's never been finished. Let me double check that before I see that. Yeah, he's only lost 3 decisions. You know, the Matt Semmelsberger was able actually to wrestle him like in the later rounds because AJ Fletcher's used to winning super quickly. That was the first time he went the whole distance, I think. And oh no, he went the distance once in amateur. Anyways, though, I'm gonna be on him, but I'm not strongly convicted by it. I'm not gonna be playing anything again. So I don't have anything much going on in the first 3 fights. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. Loosa does have 100% takedown defense. Granted, it was only 2 attempts by Lazez, and if I'm not mistaken, Madalena went for 3 takedowns and didn't get any of them. So, I mean, he's shot down 5 takedowns, but I don't think either of those guys are as good as Fletcher in terms of wrestling. But Luce is a big man. He's powerful. He's long. So I think it's going to be.
I don't love the odds. That's why I don't think it's playable, because I think it's going to be more like a pick 'em. I think Angel Loosa probably wins a decision. Probably, if he's going to win, it's going to be a decision.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
just because that guy hates.
I don't dispute that. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think he has a granite chin. I think he'll be able to stuff the takedowns, and I think if it stays on the feet, he's going to be able to piece him up. So yeah. I'm going to go Loosa here. I'll probably have a dog play on this, but I've been seeing a lot of love on Twitter for AJ Fletcher, so I don't know if that's how the whole public is feeling or if it's just, the MMA Twitter community, but I'm going to lean Loosa, and I'll probably wait till Saturday to bet that, because I think this plus 135 could get to, could get higher, and why not milk a couple more dollars out of it if I can. So
for sure. Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is another fun fight on the card.
For sure. There's I would say these first 4 fights, I mean, a lot of these fights are going to be exciting. I think personally, it's just the betting lines are kind of and so that's where we're getting right now. It'll be nice. It'll be nice once football comes out. Football's back and basketball's back, because then we'll get people who are betting on those sports and not betting on UFC so much, so the lines won't get steamed as quickly as early in the week.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a problem that's happening right now, is lines are getting steamed because there's just nothing to bet on outside of baseball, and anybody out here knows baseball's volatile as shit, so it's hard to consistently win in baseball unless you have an edge somewhere.
Facts.
All right, so let's move on to our next fight. We got Miranda Maverick against Shayna Young. Maverick is a big favorite here, and in my opinion, rightfully so. She's already beat Shayna Young. Where was it? When did she beat her? I'm about to just scroll. She beat her in an exhibition match back in 2019 pretty quickly. Maverick got her back, choked her out, and that was that. And that was 2 or 3 years ago, and that Maverick was 22 years old, 21 years old, and she's only getting better. She's only better now, and so I don't see why she honestly won't do the same thing. I'm thinking Maverick by sub here. She subbed Sabrina Mazo, and I thought that was impressive. She got her back real quick. Boom, subbed her. It was done. She had a couple lapses, but Macy Barber, Blanchfield, those are top level competitions. Then she beat Jillian Robertson, who's pretty solid, and then landed Jojua. She's not good, but she handled her. Shayna Young is just, I've never been impressed with her. Watching back her fights, nothing ever looks too good. She did beat Gina Mazzani, but Gina Mazzani is not anybody that you'd want to run home about, talking about, oh my God, so good. So I'm going to go Maverick here. I'm going to go Maverick by sub, to be specific, and I honestly would not be surprised if it happens in round 1. I'm not going to pick the round, but I will say Maverick by sub is the bet that I am leaning towards and that I will likely put a little money on. What are you on?
This is clear as day. This is like the Albazi fight kind of. One, I don't think Miranda's a big world beater by any means, but I don't think Shanna Young is very good at all. So yeah, I think I don't know how Miranda finds a way to lose this, but Loopy found a way to lose. Nama found a way to lose. Fucking Ode found a way to lose. So it's hard to put a lot of trust in them. But I'm gonna have her slightly parlayed in like a couple parlays, but yeah, the line isn't lovely.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I feel like Maverick is, I don't want to say the safest bet on this card, but she's like top 3 safest in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that just comes down to the fact that Shayna Young is just not good.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, I mean, she got submitted by Sarah Alpar. Like, Sarah Alpar is doo-doo. And so, I mean, you're getting submitted by her. Like, why can't Maverick submit you again? She's already done it once. Like, I think the UFC is just trying to get her back on track. She had 2 losses against 2 legit women, and they're like, all right, let's get you a win again. Let's get you another one. You got Mazo, kind of got a layup. Let's give you one more layup, and then we'll see how you do against better competition again.
Yeah. I also thought she beat Macy, but she got kind of screwed over by the judges.
For sure. I mean, yeah, split decisions. You always got to take it with a grain of salt. You got Sal Diamato out there. You got David Cleary. Those 2 alone are I mean, Diamato literally, I swear he bets on every fight probably, and he needs
takes
these
the dog
things
on every fight.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that dude's smoking crack. I mean, I'm looking at the line right now too. Maverick by sub is
plus 160.
Yeah, and so
I don't love that.
I don't love it.
Best.
Exactly. Like, I don't love it, but it's probably the best outcome. I don't see this going 3 rounds, but I don't see her TKOing her. So I might play that sub prop.
She could ground and pound her. I mean, Stephanie Egger did that to her.
Exactly. So there's that aspect, and so I mean, maybe once the inside the distance comes out, it'll probably be in the plus.
They have it for some of them.
Plus 200 range, I'm guessing, for inside the distance, because the sub is 160 KO plus 550, so we should get somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. This fight is a straightforward one for both of us. We're Maverick all the way. Next fight we have. Is this the next fight in the order? Because I know these fights start to get weird in the order. Yes, it is. All right, so we have Sean Woodson against Luis Saldana. Another really fun fight, in my opinion. Sean Woodson is 30, Saldana's 31. Woodson is a freak of nature, dropping down at 145. He's 6'2", 79-inch reach. Saldana's 5'11", 73-inch reach. I don't know. When I first thought about this fight, and initially I even tweeted it out, I was like, in no world should Sean Woodson be minus 350 or minus 300 against anybody. But as I watched the tape, Saldana gasses at about the 8-minute mark of fights, 8.5-minute mark of fights, and Woodson just gets stronger as fights go on. And so I think that's kind of a bad recipe for Saldana at the end of the day. In this Bruno Souza fight, I thought he won. A couple of people said that they didn't think he won, but I thought it was a pretty straightforward win for him. Then he lost to Austin Lingo, which is not the greatest loss in my opinion. He beat Jordan Griffin. Then he won on the Contender Series. So I'm going Woodson here. I think it's potentially a good parlay piece again. I do like Woodson by KO here. I think he can wear down Saldana. I think he could get Saldana to the point where, if you remember in that 3rd round against Souza, he was gassed. And he really was just surviving.
Yeah.
It was more of a survival thing than him really putting output out there. And I think Woodson loves to go to the body. And when you're tired and you're getting punched in the gut, you're getting punched in your air, your wind, your gas, all that, it just drops. So I like Woodson. I like Woodson by KO here, personally. And it's kind of funny because I wasn't really on Woodson when the lines first dropped, but I watched some tape. thought about it a little more, and Woodson is definitely the side that I'm on, and that Woodson KO is how I'm feeling. What about you?
Yeah, I'm all over Sean Woodson. He won me some money last time out. I'm gonna go back to that well. He's a sniper. That's his nickname. He goes for the body. He's gonna make him tired. The guy that already is gonna get tired by around like the 8 to 10 minute mark. I don't think he's the better striker than Woodson. So yeah, I got Sean Woodson by KO. It's plus 200 right now. But yeah, I think he probably finds a way to finish him. If not, like you said, it's going to be Saldana, like trying to survive. I think Woodson is just going to. I think he's going to beat most of the guys he's against in a striking battle. It's just the grappling that might catch up to him eventually down the line. But yeah, I don't see any reason why he should lose this fight.
For sure. I mean, thankfully though, the 145 division doesn't have too many grapplers. There's a few. Evloev is one. He's at 145, right? Yeah. Bryce Mitchell's 145. So I mean, you got those guys, and I think those guys are the ones that will really give him a hard time. But outside of them, you know, I mean, he's not going to be like Volk, or he's not going to be Max Holloway. But you know, I think he could put up a decent fight against some of them standing up for as long as it would last.
Bro, he won. Remember the video of him fighting at heavyweight?
Yeah, he used to be a big boy, so he's really cut weight. He's taking his fighting stuff seriously. He's basically just a smaller Jalen Turner, you know, just going down to 145 instead of 155. Where I think he would even be pretty decent at 155, but 155 just has so many killers and a lot more grapple heavy people. But we'll move on to our next fight. We have now I think is where we get a little bit mixed up with the fights with Tapology. I'm pretty sure Jared Gordon and Leonardo Santos are the next fights on the card. I can triple check that real quick. Yes, it is. So Leonardo Santos against Jared Gordon. For me, this fight is the one fight where I'm just like staying away. I don't like Gordon as this big of a favorite personally at minus 290. I mean, he's a featherweight. He used to fight featherweight. He just went up to 155. I think as he got older, he couldn't cut that weight anymore. So it just made it easier on himself, you know? But that's not really for me. He's only 5'9". He has a 68-inch reach. But then we have Leonardo Santos, who's 42. 6 feet tall, though, 75-inch reach. So, you know, the physicality-wise, Santos is superior. Age-wise, you know, you have Flash Gordon as the younger fighter. I don't know how to pick this fight. I guess it's dog or pass for me. I don't necessarily think Santos will win, but I can't really back Jared Gordon at this price. He's just so small. Like, and that's really what it comes down to for me is he's just a little guy for this division. I mean, 5'9", like that's small for 155, in my opinion. A lot of these guys are like 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet, 6'1", you know, a little bit bigger. And his reach is very short. And he's also not a good striker. I think that's one thing that really stands out to me is his striking is like is boo-boo. It's not very good, but Santos' striking isn't very good either. And so I don't know. I mean, Grant Dawson was losing to Santos, and I would say Dawson is a better version of Jared Gordon. So that's kind of how I feel about this one. I guess it's dog or pass for me. But I don't feel good about it either way. And this fight, I'm probably going to stay away from entirely and just enjoy it, kick back and watch this one. What about you?
I'm on the Santos side. I think he's just better everywhere, kind of. But he's super old, so it's hard to really lay money on that. You mentioned it too. Gordon's pretty small for the division, and he had trouble making 145. So now he's like officially 155. His striking's not good. He doesn't have a good chin. Santos hits pretty hard, but he's old, man. He's freaking old. So I'm gonna play Santos inside the distance. I think once that comes out, it's not out yet. Plan to get like at least plus 350 or 400 minimum, and go from there. But do I think it's guaranteed he's going to win? No, not even close. Is there a chance that he gets finished even by a guy that never finishes? Yeah, he's so old. I don't know. He could. So overall, I'm not going to have much exposure on this, but go Leo. He should be on a 10-fight winning streak right now. If it wasn't for him kind of fucking up at the end of the Grant Dawson fight, literally like just got lazy. And then, he finished freaking Guida, but Guida came back from the dead, and ref didn't really help him out there. But the ref, if he had, Mark Smith or something like that, that fight would have been stopped big time. So that's how I feel. The later this goes into the fight, Santos is going to probably fade too. So that's another thing that you got to watch out for.
For sure. One thing that does stand out to me that I do kind of like is Leonardo Santos by KO.
700.
Plus 700. I mean, he's been finished. Jared Gordon's been finished by KO-wise. Charles Oliveira. Yeah. Charles Oliveira finished him. Diego Ferreira finished him. Joaquin Silva. Jeff Lentz. So, I mean, he has a decent amount of KO losses, and Santos hits pretty hard. That is one thing about him, is he does hit hard. He had Clay Guida super hurt when he off strikes. So
yeah, I've never seen Guida get hit that hard, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that aspect of it where he hits like a truck. He has that old man strength. And so it's definitely possible. And I think that plus 700 is a little wide in my opinion. Especially because they have Jared Gordon by KO at plus 350, and I don't necessarily consider Jared Gordon a finisher like that. So I don't know. I like that plus 700 though, and I might actually sprinkle a little bit on that plus 700 because, I mean, Santos does have like a Mack truck. Yeah, that is juicy as fuck. So we're both dog or pass on this one. For me, it's more so the line is just too wide. For you, you think Santos is better everywhere, which can't necessarily argue against it. We'll move on to this next fight. It is, I keep going back to the UFC website to like make sure I'm going in order. We have Marcin Tybura versus Alexander Romanov. So this fight right here, I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm gonna let you kick this one off here.
Yeah, I'm kind of dog or pass on this one. It's another test for Romanov. He's going against a guy that knows how to grapple this time. I don't think he has like pretty much no striking. His striking is pretty much all set up to try and trip the guy or get him on the ground. He's gonna be slightly smaller. I don't know if he's gonna be stronger. They're gonna be around the same weight, it looks like. So I'm definitely a dog or pass, but it's gonna be a fun fight, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that same way.
Tybura, I actually might put a bet down on Tybura. I feel like he keeps getting bigger and bigger too.
Yeah, Tybura was like opened up like plus 400, and people poured money on him, so he's down to like plus 300 now. But I fully expect by Saturday, Romanov is going to be a popular parlay piece. And I think he potentially could be the parlay buster of the night because it is that prelim main event, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a decent amount of fights leading up to that. And you do have the Amir Albazi, you do have the Miranda Mavericks. So those are two fighters that probably will be parlayed a lot. And then Romanov is probably another one.
Yeah.
I just think here, this is like a significant step up in competition when you're going from Chase Sherman, Jared Vandera, Juan Espino, and Marcus De Lima to Marcin Tybura. Like, that's a big step up in my opinion. Tybura has been in there with some of the best fighters. I mean, Derek Lewis, Alexander Volkov, blanking off the top of my head. Ben Rothwell. I mean, he's older, but he was a good UFC fighter. So, and like you said, this guy can actually grapple. And I think a lot of the other guys he fought against, Chase Sherman, Bandera, those guys aren't grapplers. Those guys are just scrubs.
To say it 50-50, yeah.
Yeah, they're just scrubs. And so I think that he's actually going to get tested here. I mean, he might take down Tybura, but Tybura actually has a decent game off his back for a heavyweight fighter. Not saying he's going to like pull a triangle or something like that, but I think he'd be able to get up. And then striking wise, Tybura should certainly be the better striker.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And so when I look at that, and when it's heavyweight fighters, the line is super wide. I don't see why Tybura can't be a decent play. And I want to say like the line is kind of weird right now when you're looking at the over-unders, because the over 1.5 is -190. So the bookies are expecting this to go.
Yeah, they don't expect a quick finish.
No, I mean, even the over 2.5 is only +110. So, like, they're still kind of hanging it over your head. And fight goes the distance is +165. So it's not, like, blown out of proportion like we've seen some fights in the past, like Chris Curtis against Vieira or Hall against Muniz.
Yeah.
They're definitely kind of covering their asses and that potential that there is a decision here, because Tybura does have a decent amount of decisions on his record. It's not just strictly finishes. So
here's the play on this: Marcin Tybura in round 3 or by decision, +400.
That's not bad. I don't hate that at all. It's not bad at all. I mean, it's a little bit juicier than his money line. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, even Tybura by KO or decision is +300. I doubt he submits Romanov, so I think KO is probably the likelihood.
Ground and pound type thing, yeah.
Exactly. So
Romanov got tired or some shit.
Yeah. So KO decision's not bad, but in that case, you might as well take the money line. It's +300. So
yeah, that's true.
No point in getting cute. But that's how I'm leaning. It's dog or pass here for me.
Agreed, yeah.
And I think Romanov potentially could be that parlay buster that everybody has in there, and the books need him to lose.
He was going to lose to Juan Espino.
Yep, and that might be the one that he loses, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to the main card. That's crazy. They literally updated this shit while we were talking. Like, this was down here, and now it's up here.
I see it now. Now we're up to speed now.
Yeah. So we got Tyson Pedro against Harry Hunsucker. First off, I just want to say it's absolutely hilarious that they put Harry Hunsucker's pictures up of him holding 2 belts like he's some like elite like fighter.
To go.
But we have Tyson Pedro against Harry Hunsucker. Hunsucker's 3 years older. This is his first fight at 205, so it's going to be interesting to see that weight cut. He's 6'2", 75-inch reach. Pedro 6'3", 79-inch reach. I mean, Hunsucker just sucks. I mean, his last name literally has the word in it. He's just not good.
He's a sucker.
Like, just to, in the most respectful way possible, he's not a UFC caliber fighter. And so when I break that down, I also don't think Pedro's very good, if I'm going to be totally honest. But he's better than Hunsucker. And -800 though is I'm just probably not touching this fight because I don't think Hunsucker wins, but I don't also want to lay -800 because I don't think Pedro's very good. And so that's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment. Things could change, but that's how I feel at the moment. Pedro, his striking is decent. I mean, you beat Ike Villanueva with leg kicks and uppercut, like, okay. And then he loses to Shogun.
That's bad.
Loses to OSP, which
but
is...
That was a younger Shogun and a younger OSP, but still, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not great. And then He lost literally lost to Latifi, OSP, and Shogun. Like, I'm sorry that is just bad. It's just not good. But Harry Hunsucker is not good. And he's lost to Justin Taffa, who is, oh my God, scrub. And then, he lost to Tai Tuivasa, fair. Tai is a beast. And he lost to Vandera, like, come on, man. And so this is in my opinion, this fight is like the lowest level fight on the card. I think these two guys both are not good, which is why I just don't want to touch it, because I think that they're just, neither one of these guys are good to me. What do you think?
I mean, obviously it's a Tyson Pedro all day, but the line's pretty much untouchable. I think the only way, if you really want to play any props or anything, is like the -200 for like round 1 finish for Tyson Pedro. You could see him getting a sub off on him or knocking him out. The guy Hunsucker doesn't like to be hit. He's slow winging shots. I don't really know how he's even in the UFC. I have to be completely honest. But you know what? He moved down from the heavyweight division to 205, bro. He's ready to conquer this division. He's going for the belt, as you can see in his profile photo. Yeah, that's about it. I think he should be finished in round 1. If not, Pedro sucks.
Yeah, I don't think either one of these guys really should be in the UFC. I think Pedro's honestly here because he's Australian, and they are continuing to develop fighters out of that region. We have Izzy, got Volk.
Well, you know what? Hey, man, you got to give this guy something. He's beaten Khalil Roundtree and Paul Craig, both by finish.
Yeah, that is impressive.
That's a long time ago, but still.
Yeah, that is impressive. I won't argue against that. I think his losses are more impressive than not impressive. I don't know. I don't even know the word to say. I think his losses are worse than his wins are good.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
The value of your weight.
And I will say, like, Paul Craig is not that great of a fighter. He's literally submission or bust. Like, that is literally all he is submission or bust. And so
not wrong.
I think that's a big thing too. Like, if you could avoid submissions, like, anybody could beat Paul Craig.
For sure.
And so that's how I feel. And Hunsucker, is not about to submit anybody. So yeah, I'm staying away from this one. I don't think I'm going to touch this fight. Unless like I'm up a lot of money on the card so far, and I throw like a unit at Hunsucker because his line is like plus 700 or something, just absolutely absurd.
Dude, I did that last time against Taffa, and it was not the play.
No, it wasn't.
Man blocked the kick and still got finished.
Yeah, that was impressive. I'm not gonna lie, to get finished like that. I watched that fight back because I was like, how did he get finished by Taffa? So I went and watched it, and I was like, that's how you got. Like, it almost was like the Kennedy in Nzechukwu fight when he got elbowed through the guard and still got finished.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's what it reminded me of when I saw that. But
for sure,
we'll move on here because there's really not much to.
No value in that.
Nah, there's really not, in my opinion. Unless like you do take a round 1 KO or something like that.
That's called the Harry Hunsucker fade.
Exactly. That's what this fight is. All right. So we have Loosa, Pudilova against Yanan Wu. I don't know why this fight's on the main card, but the UFC is clearly wants one of these women to win and wants everybody to see it. So my goal by Saturday is to figure out who the fuck the UFC wants to win this fight, so I can bet a lot of money on it because I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. And I'm going both ways because, Asia and China, those fighters, that region, the UFC is trying to cultivate more fans there. But then you have the Czech Republic, where you have a lot of fans being built over there too. Is that where Yuri's from? is the Czech Republic?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I'm not positive, but yeah, he's from Czech Republic. So that's why I think potentially she might win this fight because I was looking at that. And Yuri's won. They might be trying to build up another Czech Republic fighter just a little bit, put her on the main card, have her win. And so I think that's a big thing here. I think one thing to notice is she is moving up in weight. It is going to be at 135. She last fought at flyweight. So there's that. But Yanan Wu's just not good. You look at her losses, Mara Beno Silva, Jocelyn Edwards, Mizuki Inoue, and Gina Mazzani. And then she beat Lauren Mueller, which literally I would say none of these women are very good. Mara Beno Silva is pretty decent, though. I'll give her credit. But outside of that, none of these women are very good. And she's also training out of Jackson Wink, which is, in my opinion, a scrub camp. Outside of John Jones, like they don't really have shit there.
He's not even there anymore.
And he's not even there anymore. So outside of when John Jones was there, they don't really have shit. So I'm rocking.
I have Tony Ferguson now.
Old man. I'm rocking Lucy Pudilova this week. I think she's gonna get the job done. But I'm gonna do a little more research. I'm gonna see if the UFC, if they're posting tweets more about Lucy or.
So apparently she was in the UFC before, but then she got out of it, and now she's back in after a few wins.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look at any of that. I literally just watched. I don't even know what fight it was. I watched like 2 fights of hers, and I was like, she's decent, and Yanan Wu is not decent, so I'm gonna back her.
She sucks.
Yeah, basically, she sucks, and this girl slightly doesn't suck. So we're gonna go with that.
Yeah, I'm the same boat as you. Woodson is just it was painful to watch her fight. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm on Lucy. I don't think I'm gonna bet on, but well, let's see. Actually, what's the line on both? Let me check this.
Minus 130 for her.
That's not bad. See.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those fights where I think if the UFC wants her to win, she's gonna fucking win. Kind of like last week with the Mexican girl Jorigi or whatever her name is. Yeah. Like she had been training with Brandon Moreno. It was in San Diego. She trained in Tijuana. Like I think she was on the main card. I just think everything was kind of the crystal ball was just all for her. And so I feel like I'm kind of in that same boat with Lucy Pudilova. I think that she'll be able to secure this win. Not by finish necessarily, because Yanan Wu doesn't really get finished, but
a decision, yeah.
A decision win. I'll probably end up betting on Pudilova. I won't play like a crazy bet. I mean,
yeah, even her win by decision is minus 112, so you might as well just take the midline.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I threw heavy money on the Mexican girl last week. It came out good, so
you're crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. It was the most money I ever bet on a fight by far, like a decent amount.
Well, yeah, we knew that was kind of a setup fight. I think we even mentioned it on here.
Exactly, and so that's kind of how I might feel about this one. Is Yanan Wu's on a 4-straight losing streak? Why is this not another setup fight for her to lose? Yeah. And to build up the Czech Republic fighter, Jiri just won. So
they want to throw her on the card in December, maybe if she wins.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. I mean, she could definitely come out here and win, and then go and fight another scrub on that card and have 2 Czech Republic fighters on it. That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. So, yep, that's how I'm leaning. That's how you're leaning. And we will move to the next fight.
Aldo season.
Yes, sir. We got Jose Aldo against Merab
Dvalishvili.
There we go. All right.
I don't even know if I said that.
So we got Aldo 35, Merab 31. They're fighting bantamweight division. Aldo 1 inch taller, 2 inches in reach. I'm gonna let you take this one first. What do you think?
I want to bet Aldo, but something's like making me not. Just probably because Marab's a freaking machine, dude. That's his nickname. Yeah, I'm gonna lean Jose Aldo. I feel like I'm kind of biased in this just because I want him to win. So I might have to just stay away from it just so I don't have the heartache of losing money and him losing. So yeah, I'm gonna lean Aldo, but Merab could very well. He's a great. The tail of the story is going to be the takedown defense, and Jose Aldo's got some of the best takedown defense ever. So that's why I'm going to lean Aldo. He's the better striker as well. Marlon Moraes was so close to finishing Merab. I think Jose Aldo might be able to do it too. So I'm going to lean Jose Aldo by finish, but Merab could somehow wrestle fuck him just because Aldo's getting up there in age. Be 36 in a month.
Yeah, for sure. I'm on the other side. I'm going to be on the Merab side. When I first saw this line, I, again, was like, oh, Jose Aldo plus money, plus 110. I like that. And then I started to think about it deeper. And you watch back Aldo's fights, and you see he fought Rob Font, someone who doesn't really go for takedowns. Fought Pedro Munez, doesn't go for takedowns. Marlon Vera doesn't go for takedowns. Peter Yan, even Peter Yan doesn't really go for takedowns all like that. He does when the opportunity presents itself, but he's not like a grappler / wrestler who wants to. That's not his like main game. And then Marlon Moraes, again, that's not his main game. And so I think when you look at Aldo and who he's been fighting, nobody's really. There's no wrestlers. I mean, you look at his record, like you have to go back to Frankie Edgar in 2016 to see someone who's like an actual wrestler / grappler that he's fought. And so I think his takedown defense, while it is 90%, I think it's slightly skewed just because he hasn't fought anyone who is really out here like a takedown guy, a wrestling guy, a guy who's a chain wrestler. I think that's what Merab is. And Merab's fucking relentless. That man, he doesn't get tired. He goes, he's go. And honestly, I was surprised. I was like, Aldo should have the heavy striking advantage in this fight. But then I looked at the numbers, and Merab actually lands more strikes per minute. He absorbs less strikes per minute. Striking defense is both at 60%. But then I think the huge difference here is the grappling. You look at the grappling, and Merab averages 7 takedowns per 15 minutes. And some will say, okay, well, his guys are getting up over and over. Yes, but he's taking their ass right back down. And that's exhausting. That's an exhausting style to fight. And for a guy like Aldo, he's a big 135er. He is coming up in age. Age is catching up to him. He's about to be 36 in a month. I think that relentless just pressure of Merab, just going forward, going for takedowns nonstop. Oh wait, he's just going to be on Aldo's ass for 15 minutes nonstop. Like, I'm most excited for this fight on the card because I think it's going to be the most action-packed. But I'm going Merab here, and I like the line. I mean, minus 130, I think that's a good line. I have him more like minus 160-ish. I think that pressure is really going to get to Jose Aldo. I think he's going to struggle with that pressure after. I think this first round, he might look real good. He might even win the first round, but I think the second round and the third round, it's going to be tough for him. So I'm going Merab here. I don't necessarily disagree. I probably will end up betting it, but again, I like to bet. I've kind of shifted my betting mentality to betting day of. Partially because the lines, like if you like underdogs, it's typically better. Secondly, you kind of see how the card is going. You kind of see how the judging is going.
The atmosphere of the crowd.
The atmosphere of the crowd. You see if there's a lot of finishes. You know, if you're getting like a finish heavy card, it's like, okay, well maybe Aldo's probably gonna be the one to be to finish, you know, in this fight. So maybe let's go Aldo here. That's kind of how I feel. And then also you really get to see how the line is moving. And I think that's a big, big key. Something that I'm starting to notice is right before fights are starting, you see heavy line movement, you know? So like right after this Lucy fight ends, like if you just sit on your phone and you just sit there and scroll, like, or you're on your computer and you're just refreshing your page, like you'll see like that Marab line is going to go from like 130 to like 140 to 145 to 150, like in the blink of an eye, you know? Or you're going to see that Jose Aldo line go from plus 107 to minus 100 to plus 100 to minus 105. Like you start to see where that big money is coming in at the like last second. And that's just, I think, big sharp money coming in. And it's just these people who are waiting at the casino, waiting at their computers, just like, all right, I'm going to smash this right now. Because at those moments, that's when the bookies are willing to take the most money. And so that's kind of how I'm leaning with this fight is I will probably bet Marab, but it's probably going to be day of. And that's how I've been betting a lot of my fights. So if you go on like my Bet MMA account, you'll see that I literally don't even have anything posted on my Bet MMA account for the past 2 days or past 2 weeks because I'm not betting. I'm not betting like I don't really place bets beforehand anymore. I will occasionally. I do have like one bet already placed this week for UFC, and we haven't even gotten there yet. So
yeah,
but that's it really. But that's my little spiel on why I bet day of. I also like to chill in the Twitter spaces, you know, and just listen to people and hear their ideas and hear their thoughts, ping pong off of them. And just, you know, I think it's, you know, we're all just trying to make money here. So if you hear other people's thoughts, hear their opinions, I think that's kind of the way to go for me. And I've been more successful doing that than I have been betting before cards. So that's how I feel. I'm a Rob. You are on the Jose side. And we will move on to the co-main event.
Woo.
All right. So we have Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold. What the fuck was that? I just could have got a sound in my ear for a second. That was weird. We have Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold. Costa is both of these guys actually their last fight was at light heavyweight. Rockhold, that was by decision. Costa, he refused to cut weight. So there's that. Rockhold's 37, Costa's 31. The reach advantage is all the way on the Rockhold side. He is going to have that 77-inch reach, which could come into play here. But I tweeted this out, and a ton of people were responding and either agreeing, disagreeing, liking, retweeting, blah, 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 blah. But I basically said Luke Rockhold's here to collect a check. Costa by KO is probably the easiest, safest bet on the card. You know, you have people out there who say Costa's not very good. He doesn't have power, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the dude's finished like 13 or 11 of like his 13 fights. I'm sure it's not one punch knockout power, but the guy has power. He's finishing people. You don't need to have one punch knockout power to have power. Like that's not necessarily like those two things aren't just that's not how it goes. So I'm Costa here all the way. I'm not going to bet the money line. I might bet that KO line. I haven't bet the KO line. It is minus money because everybody and their mom is on it, which I do not disagree with whatsoever. I think people are a little bit down on Costa because that Izzy fight, in my opinion, he just got shit on by Izzy, and then he lost the Vettori fight, but that was 49-48 against Vettori. And he got a point deduction, which is why it wasn't 49-48, but that was 49-48 Paulo Costa or for Vettori. And he put up a great fight, in my opinion. And so I'm going Costa here. Rockhold's chin, all 5 of his losses are by KO. He's 37 years old. He hasn't fought in 3 years. This reminds me, I said it reminds me of like the Cheeto Dominic Cruz fight last week. Some people said the Krylov Alexander Gustafsson fight. Some some people said the Leon Edwards against Nate Diaz fight, like basically just a guy who, was great in their prime, but is not in their prime anymore, is older, coming off a layoff, and is really just doesn't have that juice anymore. And it's not like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards Rockhold in any way. I just think he's 37, hasn't fought in 3 years, and he's not getting any better. His chin is definitely not getting any better. So I'm on that Costa side all the way. Costa by KO, finish, however the hell you want to do it, inside the distance, KO, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you said it pretty much exactly what I'm thinking. I think it's probably one of the safer bets of the card. It kind of just reminds me of Gustafsson coming back. I think he's probably going to get slapped at some point, probably in the first round. And yeah, I mean, the one way he could win is if he starts, like, maybe if he tries to get grappling involved. But like looking at like the numbers, it doesn't seem like anybody thinks he's going to finish Paulo.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just, I mean, to me, it's just got written like he's probably coming for a check, and then he's probably going to lose by knockout. And then, like, why are they giving him Paulo Costa? Why would they give him Paulo Costa?
I don't know. I mean, you literally look at Luke Rockhold's like fights, and every single time he was about to come back, like they're trying to give him killers. Like, I mean, he's about to fight
Sean Strickland. Yeah.
I mean, Sean Strickland's not a killer, but like Sean Strickland would beat his ass because he's just so relentless. And then Paulo Costa, like they try to book this. It was last month, and they pushed it back a month. I mean, also Kevin Holland was trying to fight him. Like, I don't know. I don't know why.
Also, Rockhold had a herniated disc, and like that's why he backed out of the Sean Strickland fight. Yeah. That was less than a year ago. So
exactly, and that's a great point. I literally haven't even pointed that out when I saw that. I think if I was gonna bet this fight, I might sprinkle 2 bets. Either probably Paulo Costa round 1, Paulo Costa round 2. I like both of those, plus 165 and plus 300. If you put a unit on each of those, if one of them hits, you're going to profit no matter what.
Yeah, my biggest bet on the card is Paulo Costa just by KO at minus 176.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even hate that at all. Like
3.5 units to win 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that at all. Like, really, I don't. I think the KO probably comes in the first 2 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if it's quick. Costa's like a bull in a china shop. He rushes, he bum rushes forward, and he's swinging. He has crazy leg kicks, body kicks. I don't know. I just think that this is more of just a fade on Rockhold.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. And I've seen photos of Costa. The man looks like a freaking great god right now.
Exactly.
I mean, Rockhold looks great too, but Costa's like, I've never seen him this shredded.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. I think last thing I'll say, and this is just a general broad statement, putting money on people who are like, late 30s off of long layoff, like that's not sustainable long term. You might win one fight, but like people are talking about like Angela Hill, for instance, but Angela Hill's been fighting. Angela Hill's been active. She's been fighting a lot the past couple of years. So it's not like she is on a layoff. I mean, she's older, but she's not on a layoff. She has been fighting. Her body's used to this. Like, Rockhold has not been doing that. So we're both on the Costa side. Pretty straightforward right there.
For sure.
And we'll move on to the main event, the fight that I'm very excited for. This is a rematch. We have Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. This fight here, Usman's 35, Edwards is 30. Usman will be 6 feet, Edwards is 6'2". Usman has a longer reach at 76 inches, Leon 74. Usman trains out of 2 camps. Excuse me. Got the yawn. He trains out of Sanford MMA and also trains with Trevor Whitman out there in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. And so this fight's a fun one. It's a rematch, like I mentioned. Leon Edwards is, I don't want to say the toughest fighter that Usman's ever fought, but he's definitely up there. At least skill-wise, he's up there. I don't know if the outcome will make it look like it was one of the toughest fights ever, but skill-wise, he's up there. He's a really good striker. Decent takedown defense, decent grappling, if you will. I wouldn't say it's amazing by any means, but it's decent. He averages like one takedown every 15 minutes, where Usman's averaging 3. Usman has way better takedown defense. I don't think that Edwards is going to even try to take Usman down. Like, that would be pointless. It'd be a waste of time. And you look at the striking landed even. I mean, I think the one thing with Edwards is he's very low volume. And I didn't realize how low volume he was until I watched back some tape. And I was like, this dude doesn't throw punches. Like, it's pretty interesting. I mean, and you look at the numbers, he averages 2.62 strikes per minute. Like, what? That's super duper low. That output is low. And I think another thing is Edwards doesn't hit hard. Like, he doesn't have many finishes, if any. I was looking through, like, he has one finish in the 3rd round when it comes to knockouts. And that was in 2018. Before that, I mean, he didn't have a finish, like, knockout-wise until 2015. So, I mean, like, since 2015, he's had 2 KO finishes. And I think that's the way he has to beat Usman. I don't think you're beating Usman in a 5-round fight, in my opinion, unless the judges are truly just corrupt. like that. That's how I feel straight up. He doesn't hit hard, and I think the way to beat Usman is you have to have power, because he's not out wrestling Usman. He's clearly not going to out volume Usman. Usman's more accurate. Usman does absorb like 0.4 more strikes, but his defense is better. I have a bet on this fight. I have Usman inside the distance plus 200. I don't know if he'll submit him. I don't know if he'll KO him. That's why I took the inside the distance. But I think Usman's going to finish this man. We saw Nate Diaz clip him in the 5th round. Granted, he was winning. He kind of had his guard down. But if Usman hits this man with a clean shot, it's going to be problems. And the last thing I'll say, it's not MMA math at all, but I think Masvidal, like striker for striker, I think Masvidal is a better striker just straight up than Leon Edwards. And when I consider that and the way that Usman put that man's lights out, like I had that KO was vicious. I just don't think Edwards has the juice to beat Usman. And, you know, I like Leon as a person. He seems like a great guy, but I don't think it's his time. And a final thing I'll say, just narrative, just a little conspiracy. Dana White has been all over Usman, saying if he wins this fight, he's the pound for pound GOAT, potentially up there with Silva and GSP. He's already been saying he's the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC. Dana White loves him some Kamaru Usman. And so I just don't think he's going to lose this fight. I think Usman's probably going to leave the UFC as the champ, and then the belt's going to be vacant, and then maybe Edwards will have a shot at a vacant title shot. I'm going to get the belt that way. But I don't think he wins this fight. And like I said, I have a bet inside the distance at plus 200. I just put a unit on it. Didn't go crazy. I might put more on it day of, but right now that's what I locked in at. What do you think?
I have the same bet as you, literally the exact same unit size too. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm feeling Usman's going to finish him. Edwards has never been finished before though, so it won't be an easy task to do. But I just feel like Usman's been more active. He's been fighting top guys in the division for a long time now. I just think he's not going to lose. He might lose in like the next couple of fights if he continues to defend it, but I don't think Leon's going to beat him. Like you said, the only way Leon wins, I think, is if he finishes him, but I don't think he's going to be able to finish him. And there's going to be that wrestling threat the whole time. Usman's going to be the stronger guy. So yeah, I mean, minus 400 is a little steep for me, but that's why I'm taking the inside the distance. But he could win by decision as well, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely think he could win inside the distance. Win by decision, I'm sorry. I just feel like the way things are going and just the way Usman's talked about, I see Edwards going to sleep, man.
Yeah,
I just see it happening. I don't know. That's just how I'm feeling.
that's how I'm feeling too.
And I'll happily lose my unit if that doesn't happen. But that's the way I'm going. And I would rather lose my 1 unit than miss out on gaining 2. So
yeah, amen to that.
that's how I'm feeling on this one. But that we made it through all 13 fights. Honestly, the card's probably going to be a little bit more exciting than I originally anticipated. There are some bangers. Sounds weird, but like I'm least excited for like Tyson Pedro, Hunsucker. I mean, I'm least excited
That's
for
the people's main event.
Right, that fight and the Jared Gordon Santos fight are like the 2 I'm least excited for. I mean, I guess Anya Non-Woo, I don't really care about that one. But other than that, I think all the other fights should be bangers. So, I mean, we have 13 fights. I think we should at least get 10 bangers.
Yeah.
If not more. But that's how I'm feeling. Any last comments, thoughts on the card before we pop this thing off?
Nope, just need some good bounces, man. I've had some rough ones last few weeks. I'm hoping to ride my guy Usman out and Paulo to get me some money. Best of luck to everybody out there. Make smart bets, and let's get this paper.
For sure. Let's get this paper. And if you enjoyed this, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out, helps the algorithm out, and doesn't cost you anything. So I appreciate everyone and you guys all. Best of luck this weekend and enjoy the card because, you know, sometimes cards aren't great, but you got to enjoy it while we have them. You never know. So it might be a great card and we'll be like, wow, that shit was fucking amazing.
That's normally what happens.
Exactly. So we'll catch you guys next week to break down, or not next week, actually. We're taking a week off.
Wow.
So we'll catch you the week after that. Enjoy that Dana White contender
for Paris.
Yeah, for Paris. Exactly. All right. We will catch you guys. Have a good one. Deuces.
Peace.